Are we in the silly season yet? If not, soon. What is going on with Steve Stamkos? What is taking so long? We have other big fish on the UFA board come July 1, like 59 in Carolina. The coaching carousel is crazy. And is Mitch Marner moving? Buckle up, North America. Buckle up.
Yeah, get those seatbelts ready because we got plenty of good questions to ponder as we look ahead to the offseason with the host of the Power Play on Sirius XM Radio, Steve Coulier, coming to us from the Cool Cave. Cooley, it's great to see you once again. Glad to chat with you and dive into some of these topics, including what's next for Tampa's captain, Steven Stamkos. Is his future down with the Bolts still?
It has to be, and you guys did a great job breaking down the playoffs. So the silly season's different. It's like General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, all those soap operas, and it's fun because even the insiders don't know what's going to happen. So Steve Stamkos, what's taken so long? I do believe he's going to stay because he's going to capitulate. That's the word Harry Sinden taught us in the first lockout, right, EJ? So I think they're going to get him at a bargain because they know that he doesn't want to go anywhere. Is it 3 years, 666? Where are you going to find 40 goals? You know, maybe if Sam Reinhart was to leave Florida, could Steve stick it to them and go further south and everything else? Probably not. I just don't understand why they would wait and treat this guy who wants to be like George Brett, back of the card, and every year say Kansas City or every year say Tampa Bay. So I think he'll stay. But it is a fun topic talking about UFAs.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's like, you know, it's term in dollars, right? He's 34 years old. He made $8.5 million last year. Some would say he took a little bit of a hometown discount last time around. Remember, he went and visited, right, Cooley? You were probably on the scent to that one. He was up in, I think, Buffalo or Toronto, right?
Yeah, both places. Remember, it went down to the last minute. Now, unless they're holding a grudge, EJ, which I doubt they're doing, he's saying you paid Hagel, you paid Cirelli, you're going to have to pay Hedman. You know, what about me? And where are you going to replace 40 goals, EJ, if he does go? And the feeling if it's him, like it's different. This is a homegrown first overall pick. A Hall of Fame. So it shocks me. I wouldn't treat my best employees like this.
Cooley,
EJ.
what's the term? Cooley, what's the term for Stamkos for you? He's 34, right? It's always, to me, a calculation. If you want more money, the term's got to be shorter. If you want more term, the money can be, you know, then we got to talk about, you know, the money being a little bit less. Where is it for you? What's the sweet spot for you?
Because we know he doesn't want to leave. His leverage point would be, I'm going. You know, they need a face of the franchise in Utah or, you know, an up-and-coming team that thinks they can make the playoffs if I go there on a one-year deal. To me in Tampa, how about 3 years, 666? You know, 666, 3 years. If it's 4, he gets an extra year. Maybe that number comes down a bit to 5.5 or 5. But a sweet spot, to be fair, might be 3 years, 666. Let's get it done. Let's not make the fans in Tampa wait any longer.
Yeah, I know, but what about the year he had? I mean, he knows his contract's up, and he puts all those points up. And I mean, he's been to 3 Stanley Cups.
Back-to-back years.
I don't know if
3 years in a row.
I don't think I can give a hometown discount.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the captain, and he's been that guy, Cooley.
And I want term, too. I would probably want 4 or 5 years if I'm Steven Stamkos.
It's just really tough, and I know. But, I mean, just a year he had. I mean, to perform under that pressure.
We're going to get more money out of Cooley yet. Come on, Cooley. Give us a little more money.
Not your money, Cooley.
If he wants to go, he'll get rid. If he wants to really push it, he'll. I don't think he wants to be Alex Pietrangelo when Alex didn't want to leave St. Louis. His wife is from St. Louis, and Donnie Mean, and they pushed it. And then when the call came in, Vegas, okay. And he didn't want to go. It's worked out for him well.
Yes.
Steve, he can't even bluff. He's holding 2-7. That's why, because he doesn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it will be hard to imagine.
I agree. I think he'll stay, but I do think that's why it's taken the long, is that this is a little tricky because I'm sure Tampa is trying to say to him, listen, if you take less, we can bring in more players. Mm-hmm. And him, on the other hand, is saying, well, listen, I just scored 40 goals in each of the last couple of years.
Look what I've done already.
Look what I've been doing. And so that's the battle back and forth. But, if I were I'd be pressing, if I was the Bolts, I'd be saying, listen, you're a lifetime guy here, and when your career is over, there's going to be more to offer for you here. So maybe that's part of it as well. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be an interesting package.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jake Gensel now. We know he's been so good with the Hurricanes since he was acquired. Do you think he'll stay in Carolina long term?
See, with Jake Guentzel, I have no feel. And I know when they made the trade, they wanted him to stay. And when they brought up Pittsburgh, what did he say? Well, I like it here in Raleigh. He had been there a week. Like, Jake Guentzel's from Nebraska, right? What if Ryan Smith wants a new face of the Arizona, now Utah franchise? This guy is a 30, 40 goal scorer. Life after Crosby will still be good for Jake Guentzel because he can do so many things. And look, he's in the middle of a series. He's not worrying about it right now. It might be one of the greatest comebacks we've ever seen if they beat the first-place Rangers and Igor Shesterkin. But this guy can play. He's still got the pop. And I think that if he pushes it, there'll be a lot of shooters around the National Hockey League. Will he stay? I know they would like him to stay in Carolina. That's why they made the trade. But he will determine his own fate, and there will be no hometown discounts here. Yeah. He will be, and he's my most interesting UFA player that's out there. I think he could end up at a number of different places. They want him to stay in Raleigh, I'm sure, but there's no deals here. Jake will cash in big time.
Yeah, I think Raleigh has to keep him. I mean, this is their identity type player. He's a solid two-way player. He proved that he can play without Crosby, even though he's played with great players with Aho, Svechnikov, and Teravainen in Carolina. But I think this is an identity player that Brind'Amour will want to have on their team.
Yeah, I just think, again, I think Steve says it. I mean, we know in Carolina it's always a money thing, right? They want to pay. Yeah. And I don't know, they usually will pay the guys they draft and develop, but they don't go outside too often to make a big contract. Cooley, I think you might have nailed it with Utah. I think Utah's going to be a player. This owner's got money. They want to come in. Let's face it, you're Utah. You don't want to come in there and be the punching bag in the Central Division. You want to come in and have a little bit more juice, and I think they can afford it cap-wise. I think you nailed it. I think that might be a great spot for him. What do you think?
I think Utah's going to be a player, and I think this new owner didn't get successful. He doesn't want anything to do, of the stench of Arizona. And that has nothing to do with the land deal that fell through last time.
Let's be nice now. Let's be nice.
I'm just saying. So I think that there is a player, and that might be an option for a number of UFAs or possible trade target. I think it's sexy. I think we're excited about it. I don't know what the uniform's going to look like next year. Are they going to wear torch? Are they going to wear yellow pennies like we do in the beer league until the real sweaters come? But anyway, Utah will be a player. Trust me, they'll be a player.
Yeah, you know what? They want to make a splash. Yeah. And, of course, though, to your point, Cooley, Guentzel's not worried about that just yet. Still trying to continue his season before we get to the offseason. We know a lot of change so far up in Toronto. And with that core four, a lot of talk about it, what's going to happen. Do you think Mitch Marner is open to a move from up north, or is he going to be a Leaf for the start of next season?
When he finished the dressing room clean out and said that he feels like they're treated like gods here, my answer would have been no, just as a gut feeling. But people talk, especially here in the self-proclaimed center of the hockey universe, what the insiders are saying. And, EJ, people talk to us, so we listen, that Mitch is not against a move. So that's the double, not against the move. So maybe he thinks it's time. Maybe there's a place where he can go and hide, if you want to look at it that way. I don't know if that's in Anaheim or in Nashville or somewhere else, but it wasn't an emphatic no way, which I think is what John has already told or tell them. I got a year left. I took a discount to come. I'm playing and I'm not moving. But with Mitch, this is what people are saying, and the buzz, not against a move, not saying no. So stay tuned. Where this leads, I do not know, but it's so exciting, the silly season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting there because he's got a no-move clause, I believe, in his contract. He's in the final year of his deal. He's going to be looking for, big-time money, as he already is making, right? So I think it's wise for his agent, Darren Ferris, and for Mitch to be open to something because at the end of the day, if a team wants to move you, they're going to figure out a way to move you one way or the other, even if it's this year or next year. Maybe it's one of these deals like what happened with the Winnipeg Jets, right, where they signed the 8-year deal, so he got the extra year. You sign the deal with Toronto, and it's a sign and trade, and you get moved somewhere else. Again, I would say Utah is one of those spots because they're looking to make a splash. It's kind of probably, I know first year in places. I was in Dallas years ago when the Stars got there. It was an unbelievable season for the players, for the team, for the community. It's going to be a fun year in Utah. This guy's committed. They're going to have better players. So maybe that's a spot, but maybe that's the way to go, Cooley, is that sign and trade with a team that's interested. Because the Leafs have to open up cap room to help their team in other areas. Do you agree?
Yeah, and you're alluding to Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's what happened.
Yeah.
We don't normally do sign-in trades in the NHL. It's not kind of a hockey thing, but the advantage is you get the 8 years because you are with the team and make a deal. So then he has 8 plus the 1 is 9. He's basically making 11. Nobody ever takes a pay cut. So it would be in and around that range. And remember, he's a guy that probably should have 4 100-point seasons. Believe it or not, he's very good defensively. He kills penalties. He's basically the number 1 penalty killer on the club. So if he's open to it, again, it's a sexy, silly season type topic and where it could lead. But the sign and trade, that's when people wonder, why would he do it? Why would he not just wait? You know what it's like. Yeah. You know, people have talked about Robidas Island and other places. Do you want to be somewhere where they don't want you? Now, normally the answer is, I've been told before, we don't want you. Yeah. Luckily, I had a year left on my deal, right, with Ludsey Torch, so it all worked out in the end anyway.
Yeah. Listen, they've been trying to get rid of me for years. I won't go. I anchored myself to the desk, and so I'm here still. That's the only reason.
I'm still in shock, though, when you see the points that he's had playing there. Honestly, between me, I wouldn't trade him. Yeah. That's just me. I'd go a different way, and I just think that he's a good player.
Yeah, well,
I know they're always looking, and they're always looking, they're talking defense, but it's been the goal scoring. What they have, 2 goals for in 9 games in their last 10 playoff games.
Yeah, but he's been part of that.
Oh, I know, but I mean, it's a little different. You just can't put it on one guy. I've never been a one guy to blame somebody if we lose a series and, with his offensive instincts.
I agree. I just think that because of their situation money-wise, they've got to open up space somewhere to create room to add defensemen, to add goalies. And the problem is, like, who are those guys going to be? Right, Cooley? Because they don't grow on trees. Like you talked about Pietrangelo, he would have been great to be a Leaf, but that ship has sailed. He's in Vegas. That's been gone on for years. He would have been a great guy for them.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, there's Rick Nash never wanted to come home, and other people, I mean, listen, they've got hometown discounts going back to Joe Nieuwendyk, Gary Roberts. I mean, you go on and on and on. Guys almost playing with Jason Spetz over here, guys playing for free. They've never capitalized in terms of getting to the cup or winning it with the city that produces the most players in the league. So everyone who's from Toronto can't play in Toronto or enjoy it the same way. So maybe it's time for Mitch in that way to move on. And remember, they're going to save on the 11, probably get, 2 or 3 people back, picks and prospects, and kind of retool from there. But it is fun, but nobody really knows until we kind of get into later June. It's just a taste of the silly season of what is to come.
All right, listen, before I know he's going to bring out that light or that horn in a minute, so bring it in, make your pick so I can go the other way. I got to go the other way, so let's go.
I have no feel tonight. I'm choking. I have no feel. So I'm sitting on my 57% winning percentage. I don't know what's going to happen in Dallas. Tonight, guess what? There's no button. I have no feel, EJ.
What a complete fraud.
Oh, my God.
What a fraud.
Oh, that's
Make a pick.
I can't tonight.
No feel on it.
All right, get out of here.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we're going to check into that percentage. I don't know about that.